السلام حياة قد جاء في القرآن أن السلام.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to iTREND on ITV. We apologize profusely for the delay. There has been a few technical difficulties, but we passed that and we're ready to bring you our show this week. After this last weekend with eating tawful at the Halal Goods Market and then reading tawful at the Josie Books and Blogs Festival, we decided to balance it out. And now it's about making sure that you are in optimal fitness state. And who better than to be speaking to Mumtaz Chauhan Ghani from MCG Biokinetics. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the studio.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Mumtaz, what is biokinetics? Because for someone like me, I've heard the term, I've seen it around, I see a lot of the work that you do, but many of us don't even know what it entails.
Most people don't know it. I think
Thank
I get
goodness.
asked that question on a daily basis. So I think in its simplest form, biokinetics can be described as a form of exercise to treat any medical condition. So that varies from your very serious neurological conditions or chronic conditions up to like things such as postural problems, low back pain, arthritis. So anything that can be treated with exercise is what we look at and what we deal with on a daily basis.
So you've got quite a wide knowledge, not just with exercise, but also about how the body should be maintained, how we need to take care of it, and how we literally need to make sure exercise forms a regular part of our being.
Yes, 100%. So exercise, I mean, in our studying, we do anatomy, physiology, about the body, all of those, about the chronic conditions, that sort of thing. And then we learn about how exercise can then help those conditions. So it's like a dual purpose knowledge kind of thing. Yeah, and I think you have to have, your anatomy knowledge has to be sound, because if you don't, you don't know what you're dealing with. Because in biokinetics, you're not treating, so if you come to me with a certain pain condition, I'm not treating the pain or the symptoms, I'm looking for the cause of the problem and then treating it from there.
That's quite amazing, because I think many of us, like you just mentioned, have never known that this exists or where to go or what we can do to target these problems. Many of us, like I know, suffer a lot from lower back pain, and we just think it's something that you just need to go with, and not realizing that there are options to have it looked at and to treat it through exercise, which is a wonderful way of also making sure you stay fit all the time. I just want to let our viewers know that if you do have any questions for Mumtaz, you are welcome to call in, stress out a little bit. But Mumtaz, tell me about the degree itself. I know because of our late start, we're going to be, I'm rushing through a lot of the questions, but tell us about the degree, how you started, how many years it is, people who are watching who are interested in exercise and who feel that this may be an avenue of interest for them.
So I've always been an active person, and I had applied and was accepted for physiotherapy, and that was where I was heading, into sports physiotherapy and that sort of thing. And my mum, who was a radiographer, went on a cardiac rehab course, and she met these people, and they were all Afrikaans speaking, all white, and they were doing this thing called biokineticus. And she said, what is this, you know? And she found out more about it, and she came home and she said, I think I found the right profession for you. I think this is better suited to you than the physio. So I went and I spent time with the biokineticist, and I was like, oh my God, like, yes, this is it, you know? And so literally, I mean, like 6 months before I was entering university, I now reapplied and changed what I wanted to do. And when it came and I got accepted, I was like, right, this is it. So at that time, you could choose one of 3 options. You could go into BSc Sports Science, sports psychology, or sports management. And then from there, you branch out into your honors, which is biokinetics. They're currently changing it, so it's going to become a 4-year biokinetics degree. So from year 1, you're doing biokinetics. But you still have to apply currently for an undergrad and then specialize in biokinetics in your honors.
Is this a degree that we only see common in South Africa, or is it something that is common around the world?
So it's, I wouldn't say common, it's known only as biokinetics in South Africa. Biokinetics is a name or a profession that's only in South Africa, but overseas there are different types of professions that sort of fit the biokinetics profile. So we have exercise physiologists, exercise therapists, that sort of thing, which do the similar types of work that we do here in South Africa. There are boards and committees that have moved to the UK, to New Zealand, that are now starting up biokinetic boards so that we can practice, because if I move overseas, I can't practice as a biokineticist. It's not recognized. But because of these people and the work that they're doing, we'll eventually be able to do that.
Fantastic. You mentioned certain aspects of it overlapping with physios, overlapping with other healthcare. How does that work from a holistic approach?
So I work very closely with other medical professionals, like from your GPs, physiotherapists, chiropractors, and basically they see the patient in your acute stage, in the beginning stage, when they are in a lot of pain, they're not mobile, they can't do much.
Yes.
Once they've dealt with that, then they would refer on to the biokineticist to do sort of a maintenance and then sort the problem out long term. So they deal with the patient initially, treat the pain, and then send them on to us so that we can then long term prevent the pain from coming back.
So this is almost a long-term healing process.
Yes. So it is, I say to my patients when they come for the assessment, you need to be committed to biokinetics. It's not a quick stop shop. I'm not going to fix it and it's going to go away in one day. It is a long-term thing. There's a lot of maintenance involved. So even when we've sorted the problem out, I still see them on a once-a-month basis to touch base to see, where are you? Do I need to change your home program? Has anything changed? Maybe something's recurred, or, you know, that sort of thing. So it is commitment both from my side and the patient. And I tell them that on day one.
But I have to say this, is that your commitment is second to none. And the reason I say that is because when you found out that I wanted to start running, Mumtaz sent me a message, didn't really know me at all, but sent a message and said, I see on one of the chats that you want to start running. I'm willing to help you out, and I will clearly run very slow to keep up with me and to help pace me. And for me, it really stood out as to how selfless you are, that you are willing to help somebody else, even though you're miles ahead in the game, but willing to walk someone else through their journey. And I think that's something you get from your mum, because I've seen how she does that as well. And it's a really remarkable quality. So when you talk about your commitment to your patients, I completely feel that that is very personal from you as well. I hope the rest of your colleagues are the same, but I know from you it's a personal thing.
Well, thanks, Zaheerah. But yeah, it is. You have to be, it's a journey that you take together. You embark on the journey together. And, you know, it's about a service. I always say to my husband that you have to be there in the practice. You have to be working, because biokinetics is about a service that you provide. So even if it's a message 2 hours after the session to say to the client, how are you feeling? Is there anything I need to know about? Or, you know, what are you doing this weekend? Do it this way, or don't do this, avoid that. And I think that's very important. That makes the patient understand that they're important and you care about them. And, you know.
And also in a process where someone is really unwell, to know that somebody else is there and committed to making them get better is a huge aspect. Mumtaz, take us through some of the most common ailments or the most common problems that present with patients at your practice.
So I think lower back pain is like right on top there. Everyone has lower back pain, you know. I myself even have suffered with lower back pain in my life. So, and most people, like you've mentioned, just get on with it. And you don't have to, you know, you don't have to. There are ways to sort the problem out. There are ways to deal it, to prevent the operation, or even delay the operation. Sometimes an operation is absolutely necessary, but it is preventable on certain occasions. I see a lot of kids in my practice because I initially said that's what I wanted to see. So I do see a lot of kids. Again, it ranges from your very serious to like your cerebral palsy kids to your not so serious where you just have a flat foot or postural deviance and that sort of thing. And then in recent years, there's been an increase in arthritis. So, you know, I don't know. I think for me, it was just misdiagnosed, or people were just told to live with it. So maybe it's better diagnosed now, but I do see a lot of arthritic patients that come to me, and those are the ones that need the most care, because they are in so much of pain when they come and see me. They've just given up, you know.
Yes.
And then you have to, like, it's hard to let them know that actually this can help and we can make things better for you.
So I have to ask you, before we go for an ad break, for someone who comes in with arthritis, I know that's something I would never have thought would be able to get particular health. What would you be able to do for a patient like that? For many of our viewers that are watching, that are going through it or have somebody in their home or family that goes through that.
So the most important thing with arthritis is not to do too much activity, because that actually is bad for you. Most of these patients present with a lot of stiffness, a lot of achy joints and that sort of thing. And the best thing for that is movement, but the right type of movement. So we know the protocol and the types of exercises that's good for them. You know, hydrotherapy is very good for your arthritis patients, not too much weight bearing, not a lot of heavy weights, that sort of thing. And if you're giving them the right protocol and you're following this through with them, it's definitely changed so many people's lives. And I've seen it, like shukr alhamdulillah. I can say that most of my patients at the end of their treatment, they are feeling much better.
Fantastic. And that's what you want to hear.
Yes.
We'll be taking a very quick ad break. When we come back, we'll be talking about other common problems that are seen amongst biokineticists. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back after that ad break. We're chatting to Mumtaz Chauhan Ghani from MCG Biokinetics. Mumtaz is giving us all the information about her profession, what it means, how to get into the studying of it, and also about tricks and tips for people who are suffering from various ailments. Mumtaz, you mentioned just before the ad break that you do see a number of children as well. For many of us who have kids, tell us about what, besides, I know you just mentioned now about the flat foot being something that comes in very often and a problem that we didn't even know could be treated in that manner. Tell us a little bit more about it.
So my guidance to parents in terms of kids and postural problems is don't get any prostheses or orthotics until a certain age. So give me time, let me try and work on the problem. If I can't fix it, then I will say to you, look, Zaheerah, exercise is not making a difference. It's not helping in any way. So now you need to move on to the podiatrist. So in some cases, we need both. In some cases, we then can avoid the orthotic completely because the difference with kids and adults is that kids are still growing. So you can strengthen the muscles so that you can correct the arch or you can correct the posture and that sort of thing and prevent wearing an orthotic. Now, if you put the child in the orthotic from the beginning, they're going to be dependent on it and it weakens the muscles and then they're stuck with it for life.
Yes.
So I've seen a range of kids, like I say, so I mean, the lower back pain is even the thing that kids have now. I hate school bags.
When I look at my girls, when we pick them up from school, those bags are so heavy, and you wonder how they're managing to pull this around. That I'm surprised schools haven't instituted, or any of the allied healths haven't instituted a rule that roller bags need to be put into place.
Well, I mean, so with my patients, that is the rule. You cannot have a backpack, you know, and as fashionable as it may be, or as trendy as it may be,
really breaks you.
You need to have a rolling bag. The rolling bag also has certain problems with it because you're turning to one side usually, but it's better than the backpack where the kids are stooping forward and that sort of thing.
And for me, I know that when we're working with patients as well, postural problems really do have a problem because when you bend over, breathing gets affected, your ability to work properly gets affected. So, and we're seeing that more and more with children. And I know with many of the mums that I chat to, gross motor problems, fine motor problems become an issue because we have a whole range of low muscle tone.
Exactly, 100%. So even like your pencil grip gets affected, or then, I mean, kids are active these days, so like their sport gets affected. So these sort of problems need to be dealt with in the beginning, and it can be dealt with by a biokineticist. And usually with kids, there's changes that happen quickly because they're growing, and they, you can make those changes. Like the other thing is there has to be a commitment from the parent and the child. So I give them homework to do, and if they're doing those exercises on a daily basis, then we see the results. If I take an example, I had a little boy who had spastic diplegia, and when he came to see me, he couldn't put his foot down and walk properly with it. And with the dedication from his mum and this child, if you look at this boy, you can't even say today that there's anything wrong with him.
That's fantastic.
So we did our treatment on like twice a week with me, and then every day this mum would work with this child, and so she helped us through the journey.
And there's a carryover of those skills at home, so that there's solid home programs put into place, so that the carryover becomes much quicker.
Yes, definitely. So there's a range of kids that we can treat. Your sporting injuries, your postural problems, and then your more serious neurological problems as well. Kids with diabetes that need to be exercising. So why we encourage them to train with a biokineticist is because it's a safe zone. So we know what they can do, what they can't do, how much, you know, that sort of thing. And so we encourage the parents that outside of being active and that sort of thing, have an exercise regime with a biokineticist that can take you through it safely and show you what your child can and can't do.
And what I'm understanding also is that it's very specific for every individual. It's not a blanket one that works for everybody. This program will be designed specifically for each individual.
100%. So usually when you go for the back ops and the hip ops, the orthopedic surgeon will give you a piece of paper and say, do these 5 or 6 exercises. And I say to all my patients, don't do those 5 or 6 exercises. Let me assess you, because every person is an individual and I take each person as an individual. So you can't, if someone phones you up and says, I have a knee problem, you can't already have in your head, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, because her knee problem or his knee problem might be a little bit different than the previous one. So the exercise programs are very individualized, and it can change even on the day. So when your patient walks through the door, depending how they're feeling or what they've done the few days before they've seen you, my program might have to change there.
Absolutely.
You know? And that's also why I spoke about the maintenance, because even though at the end of their journey I prescribe them a home program, our bodies change all the time. And so I say to them, I have to see you at a minimum of once a week so I can see, is the program still good for you? Do I need to add things? Do I need to take things out? Because if you are doing the wrong exercise, or if you're doing too much or too little, it's actually doing more harm than good.
Absolutely. So, and these, like we said, you'll monitor that on a regular basis, as with your colleagues. With ladies that come into your place, I know one of my friends recently mentioned that her mum's always in chronic pain. Would that be something that would be able to be addressed by a biokineticist?
Yes, so there's ways to treat the pain. We have like our medication, you have physio, you have heat packs, that sort of thing to treat the pain. But then how we come in is we say to them, okay, I need to see where this pain is coming from. Is it an arthritic pain? Is there fibromyalgia? Where is it coming from? And then taking from that, I can then prescribe something and deal with the pain through exercise. And yes, like I say, shukr alhamdulillah, we've had good results with how the exercise can help these chronic pain patients. And chronic pain is something that it's just becoming more common, you know, people talking about it more. And you know, even for me in the beginning of my career, I used to think, how can you be in pain all the time, you know? But being exposed to it more and more and listening and understanding, you realize that there are people that actually day in and day out wake up with pain. And my message to them is, find a biokineticist that can help you. Find the right biokineticist. You also have to find the right fit.
Yes.
And if you do, it will help. It will make a difference.
It's exactly as you're saying, we're hearing it more often. It is becoming, I don't know if it's becoming more common or the fact that we are hearing about it, but I'm glad to know that there are avenues open and there are people that are able to help them, because it is very debilitating and it psychologically it affects them in very negatively.
100%. The psychological thing is a big thing. I mean, if you take mums that are carrying their kids up and down day in and day out in the car, and now imagine now doing all of that, being in pain, or the mum that doesn't have kids, or the ladies that are at home that have to cook and see to their husbands, and they have to go through all of this being in pain, or the man that's in pain that has to go to work day in and day out. It's a very debilitating thing, and it is a mental thing as well. So I think the exercise, as we know, when you exercise, endorphins are released.
Yes.
So it already is helping that mental problem, and so that's, I think, 50% of the battle won. If you're moving, I mean, biokinetics, our slogan is life through movement.
I love it.
And so if you're moving, our concept is you're already feeling 50% better.
Absolutely. And with you, you get to know which are the right movements to have and which is the right way to do things. Because the funniest thing is, I just found out there's also a specific way to run and the way your foot needs to land. And I'm on this chat and I was blown away, because many of us think, okay, you run, you just get up and you run, but you don't realize how much goes behind it. And I love the fact that the slogan says learning through movement.
Yeah. So in the last 2 years, I've been running and cycling, and so I've seen a lot of sports people because of that.
Yes.
And it's amazing that now I'm so excited that the Indian community is into running now and cycling and triathlons, and because previously, I would say 5 to 10 years ago, I was alone doing that.
Yes.
You know, you wouldn't hear that people did that. Now there's groups that are doing it.
Absolutely.
But yes, and I say to people this all the time, don't say, I'll run through the pain, I'll cycle, it will go away when I cycle. You know, you don't have to. So come and see what the problem is. Why is the pain, or why are you not getting faster, or, you know, we can help with that as well. Sometimes it's not a pathological problem, it's just I'm not getting faster, or so maybe your running style is wrong. So we do that, we assess you, we'll do a running assessment on the treadmill and then see what's going wrong, maybe the shoe is wrong,
Absolutely.
that sort of thing.
Fantastic. Mumtaz, it has been such a pleasure to have you on air, and I'm so thankful that you came to shed a bit of light as to what your field deals with. And I think it's not only made a difference for me, but for many people out there who've always just seen the word around but never known what it's about.
Thanks for having me, Zaheerah.
And I think you need to add to your slogan that it's also healing through movement. That was Mumtaz Chauhan Ghani from MCG Biokinetics, and I'm sure if you have any questions with regards to anything that you feel needed to be addressed with pain or any discomfort in your body, get in touch with her. She will refer you to people in your area, or she'll be able to give you some sort of information that can help you through the process. Like Mumtaz said, it's not something we need to live with. There are options available to us to help us through the process. So whether it's learning through movement or healing through movement, let's make use of the people that we have in our community to get us through that process. Stay tuned. When we come back, we have another special lady in our studio.
Here at Bashir Motors Varinakan, we make every effort to find you, our value customer, the best possible used car to suit you and your every need. Our friendly sales staff will assist you from viewing and
today by Art by Gulshan, somebody whose name is synonymous with fabulous artwork in our community. Years ago, when I heard about Islamic art and who was going to be doing it, I found her name, and her name has always been stored on my phone. And today we have her beautiful artwork all around our studio. Assalamu alaikum, Gulshan.
Walaikum salam. Thank you, Zaheerah, for having me on your show.
It's such a pleasure to have you here. I think your work speaks for itself. Your name is synonymous with being one of the first people in our community who've been doing phenomenal Islamic artwork and offering that as classes to people around. People who are creatively challenged, who still look like they know how to do art by the time they're done with you. So how did your journey in the artwork start?
It started about 8 years ago. Prior to that, I did it as a hobby, not as a career, you know, not as my vocation. And about 8 years ago, I needed to do something. My kids were grown up. I needed to earn a little something on the side. And one of my good friends suggested, why don't you start with the classes? And I said, I wouldn't even know where to start. But alhamdulillah, looking back now, it's been an awesome journey.
Fantastic.
And Allah's been by my side all the time. And from the classes, you know, I slowly developed, improved on my skills. And now I do quite a bit of commission work as well. And it's been the best thing I can.
Fantastic.
You know, I'm grateful for it.
One of the best things is that you've turned a passion and a hobby into a job, and then it'll never ever be a job because it's always something you love waking up to do.
Absolutely.
And I've seen you in your studio. You are in your element there. It's just your space, which is wonderful.
It is, alhamdulillah. You know, there's never a dull moment. It's filled with color. It's very therapeutic, especially the ladies that do come to me for classes. And I have couples coming. I have kids' classes in the holidays. But the ladies that come to me, it's an escape from their, you know, their routine, from their housework, from their kids, from their husbands. And when they come to me, they're totally lost in what they're doing. And the beauty part is you go home with a piece of art that you look at and you appreciate because it's your own, you know.
That's it.
So.
Gulshan says that, and there's something I need to share with you because that was something, I'm one of those ladies that has been going very quietly to Gulshan. No one has known about it. It has been my therapeutic moment. It's been my time out. And from a personal perspective, I know what a difference it's made for me, because when you go there, it's in a different space entirely, and you just connect on a different level. And she's offered that, and I think for me that has been my saving grace, and I've absolutely loved it. So thank you so much.
It's been only a pleasure and a joy to have you, and an absolute privilege.
Oh no, you're too kind. Gulshan, when I spoke to you about artwork, it's constantly evolving. For many of us who think, oh, you know, you see a painting, you don't realize the amount of effort that goes in behind the painting, the amount of hard work. I've seen hours going into a painting that you just have to feel that it feels right for you. But it's always evolving, and that's the one thing that stood out for me about you, is that you've always kept up to trend with what's happening, and you're always taking it one step further and saying, I've learned this, now I'm introducing this. And it's always been better and better. And I don't know if our viewers can get a view of a lot of the paintings that are behind me as well. These are new things that have been coming about.
Absolutely.
Do you find it easy to stay on trend with what's happening, or is it something that you do specifically because you enjoy it, or because it's what you want to offer to the people around you?
It's what I want to offer. I enjoy it. I like keeping up with the trends, because you know what, things, it's got to go. People got to appreciate what's out there. And I like trying something new each time. And the new stuff that I've been doing recently, it's taken off well. In fact, I'm going to be introducing something absolutely brand new. It's coming up. Everyone needs to watch my space on Instagram. It's a brand new concept in South Africa. It's going to be 3D. Not that much paintwork, but it's absolutely stunning. It's brand new, even if I say so myself. But you know what, Zaheerah, what I like experimenting. I like trying out new things, and I like providing something to a client that's going to keep them happy for a while. And you know, it's refreshing in the space.
And that's the thing, is artwork is something that is so personal. It's something that's really just for that particular person. So how difficult or how easy is it to marry what your vision is of artwork compared to what somebody else wants?
Okay, when somebody requests something from me, I listen to them. I get a feel of what they want. I give my input, and the end result is always something that, you know, is what they wanted. So that's what I like, because by just simply speaking to them, I already pick up on what they'd like, what their style is, what they're looking for. Even with the students, I mean, when you came to me, you told me, Gulshan, I want to do this, this, this. And when we put the whole piece together, it was exactly what you thought you'd wanted. In fact, it turns out to be maybe sometimes better than what you visualized.
A lot of the times better. Like I said, you know, I always, I think I found my space, because, and I know one of my viewers said this to me, don't keep saying that you're artistically challenged, and I won't, because when you leave a place like Gulshan's, you actually feel like, oh my goodness, I did something, I made something. Yeah. And it's such an achievement, because it's such a boost to your own self-esteem.
It is.
And with a lot of guidance from you, I will never discount that.
No. And I like the fact that everyone leaves there with that, you know, that good energy, that smile on their faces, that when they walk out of there, they've achieved what they came for.
Absolutely.
So that's the best. For me, that's what gives me the greatest satisfaction, is knowing that I'm providing a service to my students and to my clients, and knowing that they're pleased with it.
So then I have to ask you something. You started this quite a few years back, at a time when art was not known in the Muslim community, art, or in the Indian community. Art was not a form of a profession that people said to their kids, go ahead and go and, you know, get into the art field. It is becoming more prevalent today, but at a time when you did that, it was really breaking a lot of stereotypes.
It was. And you know, just my first session with my students was kind of overwhelming, but I put my trust in Allah, and I had this conversation with Allah, and I said, you know what, you're going to guide me through this. And Zaheerah, it flowed, it went well, and gradually people got to know about it, but it was difficult. But Alhamdulillah, because I think there's so much exposure, there's your show, there's iTREND, there's social media, there's a lot of networking, people are slowly, you know, appreciating it.
Yes.
And art is a labor of love. It's something that, you know, it comes from passion. If there's no passion there, you can't get your message across. And I think when people see an artist at work, and when they look at the work, they start appreciating what it's about.
But I think you can only truly appreciate it when you pick up that paintbrush and you realize how difficult it actually is. Because even that thing that looks like a simple line takes hours It takes so much of time and so much of insight and so much, it's something that you should never ever discount. So I think it's made me so much more appreciative of skills and of abilities and of talent, and really it's humbled me to the extent of what artists out there put into their work, because I don't think any of us truly appreciate that.
Yeah, and I always say, my dad always tells me that, you know what, you're an artist, you're creative, but the best of creators is Allah, and you take from that, the essence comes from there, your inspiration comes from there, your motivation comes from there. And Alhamdulillah, although I started at that time, I think it's only with Allah's help and Allah's guidance that awareness has come about. Absolutely. That too is only through His grace, and I'm most grateful for that, you know.
Alhamdulillah, and you sum it up so nicely, because you can find your spirituality in just about anything and everything.
Absolutely.
Gulshan, you have got some beautiful paintings that you've put up for us, and our studio, like I said earlier, looks absolutely amazing. And I know one of the things that you're going to be sharing with us is a trick on how to do this fabulous piece of artwork.
Yeah, this is something new.
I hope our viewers can actually see that. I'll lift these up. Tell us a little bit about this.
Okay, this is, I chose this to present in the studio today because it's something quick and easy, and you can finish something with this. This is done with acrylics.
Right.
You select your colors, you know, divide it, and then I'll present it to the audience.
Maybe we should just start with it.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
So tell us about how you choose what you enjoy doing. Is it something, when you come in or when people come in, I know from my experience, but when we come in and we talk about artwork that we like to do, how do you choose what's the right piece? If somebody's sitting at home saying, you know what, I just want to do something. I want to do something creative.
I'm going to let you choose some colors.
Okay, I'll happily choose colors.
What I do, Zaheerah, is I first listen to what they want.
Yes.
And from there, I kind of show them a few references. We select an ayat. If it's an Islamic piece, we select an ayat. And from there, we kind of, you know, it's amazing how it actually falls together, because you'll know your colors, you choose a specific background, you choose an ayat, and it kind of just falls into place as you're doing it. There's no pre-planning, there's no picture in your mind exactly like, okay, it's going to turn out like this, it's going to turn out like that. But I think when your creativity starts flowing, and as you're doing it, it just falls into place, and the end result is like phenomenal. And you think, wow, I didn't realize it's going to look this good. And well, in most cases, it turns out always better than what you had visualized.
Even imagined. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We're going to be going for a very quick ad break. When we come back, we'll be starting our painting lesson. So stay tuned and be ready for some painting. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I hope you're ready to get painting with us as Gulshan shows us how to do a simple piece of artwork at home. And I say simple in inverted commas. Gulshan, the stage is yours.
What I've done is just put some white acrylic. We're going to turn it around this way, and then you've selected these three colors, Zaheerah.
Yes.
So what
my girl's favorite colors.
Okay. So you can take it home for them, right? I'm just brushing it on very randomly. Nothing. It doesn't have to be perfect strokes or.
And Gulshan, you prefer acrylic paints purely because it dries a lot faster?
You know, at home I work mostly with oils,
right.
But because we're doing something quick and different here, it works better with acrylics.
Perfect.
And yes, it does dry quicker.
And as you mentioned, you can just paint it in any direction.
So this is just something very random, right?
Yes.
But the end result, well...
Oh, I love how the colors are blending.
Yeah.
See, the color choices were perfect.
Yeah. Okay, now what we're going to do is, I'm just spraying some water on because I just want to keep it moist for what we're doing next, right? And just brush on the color a little more. As you can see, I'm not using that many brushes because it's a very abstract piece.
Yes.
And what we're going to create here is something quite different. So it's just, let's put that bit on there.
I love the blending.
Yeah. Like I said, this is just something very new, very simple. And we can let you put your hand at this as well. Right?
So this is just to ensure it stays moist?
Yeah, this is just to ensure it stays moist, right? Now we're going to create something. I thought we could do your name on here, but if you want to, we could do something else. We can You give me something you'd like to do.
The choice is yours. I think we can go with, I trust you. You know I do.
Let's do Zaheerah, right?
You can see how easily this Islamic print comes to, the Arabic print comes to Gulshan. Clearly that would have taken me a long while to get that done.
And there, we have your name.
Wow.
And it's complete.
That's absolutely fantastic. Let me hold that up here
simple.
so that I can show that to the viewers as
well.
well.
We can add a little bit of glamour to it if you want.
So basically, all you've done is you've just put in, now let me put that there. Let me hold that for you. Wait, I just want to make sure. I don't want to
spray it on you.
Yeah.
So basically, it was just a simple, acrylic piece. And we used a brush and we put your name on it. And there we have it, a modern abstract piece.
And as easy as that.
Yeah.
So all we did was the white acrylic paint, choose a few colors that you like, brush it up, do the Arabic print, do a little bit of spray paint, and you've got an art piece ready to go.
That's a little gift from me to you.
Thank you so much, Zaheerah. I can't wait to put that up.
I'm glad we did your name.
So am I. Yeah. I love it. I have to ask you though, for people who struggle with doing an Arabic print, I mean, this is obviously years of experience to be able to do it with such a free hand and to do it so easy and it looking so neat. What are tips and tricks for those of us that aren't able to do that, to be able to do an Arabic print?
You know, practice makes perfect, and it takes years of practice to master a technique. But what I always did was, at school, while the teacher was speaking, I used to sketch and I used to draw and I used to do all that sort of thing. And I think with the handwriting as well, with calligraphy as well.
Yes.
But the bottom line is practicing. Try it and never think that you're going to fail at anything, because you know, the more you do it, the better you become at the skill, and that's how you get better at anything, for that matter.
I absolutely love that, because it is hard work. It's perseverance. It's making sure that you're
never
afraid of
it. It's a lot of patience and endurance, and you'll get moments where you're frustrated and you say, "Oh no," you'll do that, you know. Yeah. But it teaches you a lot of sabr, and it pays off. It pays off, and that's the best part.
If it's someone like me, don't be shy to take out that tracing paper also and just work on it to get it right, because I think anything that works, that will give you that tip. In terms of choosing paints, choosing colors to make these artworks, what's your advice to viewers? And brushes.
You know what? There are no rules. Look, I never had any formal training. I'm self-taught, and I find that when you do that, you allow yourself the freedom to try anything.
Yeah.
You know, you're not so structured, and you don't limit yourself. Sometimes when there's too many rules, you go by the rules, and you're afraid to try. So the idea is to you know, let yourself loose, allow your creativity to flow. Don't stick to any rules. I mean, there's certain things they say you can't do this and you can't do that. I do everything, and I shukr alhamdulillah, you'll end up with a good result. Obviously, brushes, we use synthetic because of, you know, the halal issue. I like working with oils. I do use acrylics. Buy good products that will last and that will enhance the quality of your work. And yeah, that's it basically.
So you mentioned that, and I have to ask you a very layman's question. Does the quality of the products you buy or the brushes you use impact on your artwork?
Yeah, it does. It does. You don't want a brush that's going to fray as you're working, and all the bristles are going to fall out and get stuck on your painting. So, you know, invest in good products because they last you longer, the shelf life is better, and the end result is the best. That's what you're looking to do, is the end result. So don't be penny wise and pound foolish when it comes to art. The thing is, it is an expensive hobby, but it's a great investment, and you're getting so much out of it. You're feeding your passion.
Yes.
It's therapy. And you get something to put up. What more can you ask for?
Absolutely, and something that goes into your home, and you can say, I did this.
It is something I did. It's very pleasing to the heart, I must say. Yeah.
I must agree with you.
Yeah.
Gulshan, in all this time, and in these years of you being an artist, what has been the one or two pieces that have really stayed with you, or one or two experiences that have really stayed with you?
Okay, my first session, when I started classes, I didn't have a studio. I started downstairs in my garage with 2 tables and 6 people. And my very first Allah painting that I did, I promise you, Zaheerah, the light that the painting illuminated is so that, you know, Allah's presence is, Allah is omnipresent, but the light that illuminated from that Allah on that particular piece, there's no words to express how that enlightened me and how that inspired me and how that gave me the motivation to pursue this whole thing as a career. So that, till this day, I visualized that painting. It was a background full of color, and the Allah was done in silver texture. And that stands out for me as one of the best. And I did have a few exhibitions. I had a few pieces. But I think the best thing is when you deliver your painting to the client and you see that smile on their face and that gratitude. You know, it's phenomenal, because that's when you think to yourself that, you know what, Allah's by my side constantly. He's brought me to this point, and you're just eternally grateful for that.
Alhamdulillah. Yeah. Do you think Muslim artists get sufficient exposure in our communities?
Unfortunately, no. Unfortunately, no. I wish there was more exposure for us. I wish there were more galleries, you know, that are willing to keep our art. Inshallah, I'm looking at maybe heading in that direction soon, but we do need more exposure. We do need, you know, more enlightening to our community regarding our art. And inshallah, that will come. You know, everything takes time, and we're heading in the right direction. So I'm sure we'll get there.
Inshallah. Yeah. I'm just thinking, you know, it would be so lovely if many of the Muslim schools would actually just give space, not just for libraries, but also for Islamic art, because talent is multifold. And to be able to have galleries in Muslim schools where children are exposed to it, where the public can come through and see artists within the community, it's a huge, huge a blessing to not only the artists but also to the community members.
Absolutely.
And I think that's something that I hope people will take on.
You know, when we went back in my days, we you know, in the apartheid years, we never had art offered to us in schools. And now, I mean, art is readily available at the schools. But the Islamic schools, if they can introduce art as a subject, because there's so many creative kids out there, the issue is that they're not getting the guidance to pursue that creativity. So if that opportunity is at our disposal, I mean, then this market can be where we would like it to be, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think, you know, if you see your child doodling and drawing, they may very well be the next Gulshan, so don't stop them from doing that. And like Gulshan says, you know, just direct the energies, direct the talent, so that you're able to make sure that you bring out the best in them that they've got to offer. Do you think with artists like yourself, with other Muslim artists in our country, are we keeping up to trend with what we're seeing around the world?
We may be a tad backwards, but I'm trying to keep up there. You know, there are a few galleries. I mean, if you visit some of the galleries in Fordsburg and that, you'll see the stuff that's out there. There's some amazing work. The artists that are currently doing Islamic work, I mean, they're talented. They're absolutely talented. So as far as trends are concerned, yeah, I think we're on par with trends. Just maybe a little more exposure would be great, but we are. Yeah,
but I think,
we're getting
you know,
there.
you're mentioning those places, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I wish I'd actually looked a little bit better, or I'm thinking maybe I should just go back and have a look again. So if you've got art galleries, do tag us, do let me know where you are, and I'm happy to come along and see it, because I think it's so important, like you're saying, to see the talent that we've got within our communities, and to make sure those are put out there and they're given their time and space.
Yeah, and in fact, I mean, I work from home, as you know, my studio is there. But I sell a lot of pieces from there as well. So it's kind of a gallery/studio. So if people want to, you know, inquire about the art or come and have a look, they're most welcome to come through.
What about mentorship programs in the art world, specifically in the Muslim community? Is that offered?
No, not that I'm aware of. Unfortunately not. It would be great if it's, you know, available, but that awareness hasn't yet come about, and that would be great if that opportunity is available.
I think that's the one we'll push Gulshan to be doing, because we know that she's an amazing fully fledged. Her feet are on the ground. She's a talented artist already. So hopefully we can push you to offer a mentorship to somebody who wants to follow that line.
I've done a few sponsors, sponsored a few, classes for when in competitions as gifting and that sort of thing. But no, it hasn't got to that level that you're inquiring about. So inshallah, why not?
Everything starts from here. So there's a reason for everything. And inshallah, we can see where that goes as well. What do you see the future for Islamic art in this country? We'll talk about the other art later, but first Islamic art.
Well, Islamic art is progressing here. There are lots of talented artists out there. And, our people are very aware of their surrounding, their environment. They're up with trends as far as fashion, decor, interiors are concerned. And now they're looking to enhance their spaces with good art. And our Islamic art that's coming about now is on par with the trends. So,
fantastic. So, inshallah, many Muslim artists will have their space, and not only with Islamic art, with any art that they do, which is my next question is, are we getting space even with art that isn't Islamic art, with any general art?
The awareness is there, Zaheerah, because I'll tell you why. It's not just art, visual art, poets, musicians, writers. The awareness is coming through quite, phenomenally, because next month in September, we're hosting a launch of a book that's acknowledging all these artists. In fact, it's 30 artists from Pretoria, which is a great achievement. It's a great acknowledgement for these ladies. It's 30 women, and each lady is profiled in the book.
Fantastic.
And hopefully that will, get us off the ground, and that will be an awareness for our community, for our society, to say, you know what, there's so many talented people out there, support them, encourage them, motivate them, and, bring that awareness into the communities.
Absolutely. I was at the Irtika launch where that was done, and it was an absolute success. So I can only imagine this event in September will be phenomenal. And I do hope all our viewers go out there, go with your families, and do support them. And I'm sure we'll find more information on your pages as we go through the month.
Yes, social media will have everything. All these 30 ladies are going to be out there exposing everything, and, inshallah, let's hope for the best.
Gulshan, thank you so much for joining us on air. It's been such a pleasure having you, having the artwork, and having an example of how to do a quick art piece that we can all take home. I promise you it's not going to be that quick for the rest of us, but it works. We'll go with that for now. Shukran so much. It's been an absolute pleasure.
It's been an honor and a privilege to be on your show. Thank you, Zaheerah.
We are so blessed to have so many talented, dedicated, and perseverant women in our community, and I think because of that we can only grow stronger as an ummah. Shukran so much for joining us on air. We look forward to seeing you same time, same place next week, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.